Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The List. Keep going with the winning streak. We are on to 3 games in a row. It was an interesting game. Very interesting game, very interesting weekend. Not a good game for my stress levels for various reasons.
Not a good game to have -5 either.
But you were there. So, Jordan, how was the vibes in the stadium?
It was interesting because I got there quite early to the stadium to partake in a little tailgate. And we got caught in a lot of rain. And I think that was the constant theme throughout the day. It was a very wet day. And I definitely think that one thing I'll say, and you felt it in the building, it felt like we took our foot off the gas a little bit, especially towards the end of that game. And I don't know if we're the type of team that can afford to take our foot off the gas in any game in this league. So I think that was definitely felt. But honestly, whether it's Hard Rock Stadium, Dolphin Stadium, Land Shark Stadium, Pro Player, Joe Robbie, no matter what the name is, to me, it's one of my favorite places in the world to be. It's where I've grown up. I've gone to, probably at this point, hundreds of games there. And so it's always nice to be back in town and be with the family and see some friends and be able to watch my favorite team.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into the game real quick. Just for our buddies, Mr. S and Carpet Dinosaur, a little Haka yell real quick. K mata, K ora, K ora. That's why you get.
Wow, he's practicing.
Yeah, so if you missed that, you get to see it. But yes, I have been practicing.
How close are we till the actual thing?
Excuse me. Honestly, it's because part of the agreement was to do green hair too. And I've got a couple days that I absolutely have to go into the office for client meetings. So I got to work around that because even if it comes out, I cannot be looking with clients with even if it comes out, if there's any.
Wait, Brett, you're telling me and the 13 people that are here with us 2 minutes and 48 seconds in as my phone's ringing that you don't do this full time? The List isn't your full-time job?
Oh, I wish. I wish. But we're getting to that. But yeah, it's getting closer. I just need to choreograph because yeah, like I said, the List is not my full-time gig, and anything that could cost my full-time gig. Sorry, guys. The bit will be fun. The bit will be a great time, but I'm not sacrificing my income if I can make it work. So we're getting closer.
For me and now the 16 people that are here, we all look forward to seeing you with green hair. And hopefully I can – we know I'm good at egging you on a little bit. Maybe
that seems to be a very common thing among our friends in our group.
Maybe I can get you to a little peer pressure to take off your shirt and do the hockey.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
Have you thought about the camera setup that you're going to have? Like, how are you going to get a wide enough shot in order to
just take my laptop and I have an island in the kitchen. I'll just put it on the.
If anybody can send Brett one of those like 8K cameras that he can set up and give us the best possible view of Brett doing a dance.
Yeah.
But Brett, speaking of deals and things, I last week committed to watching a new sport. And our Discord group has picked a soccer team for me. I'm official footballer now. I do know that Inter Miami, I think, is playing Vancouver in the MLS Cup. Is that it? MLS Cup. There's another famous international soccer player that plays on Vancouver, right?
Ironically, he used to play for your new team, Thomas Mueller. So, yes, for those who missed,
I'll be honest, if you wouldn't have said Mueller, and this tells you my soccer knowledge, I would have probably guessed that it was Wayne Rooney.
Oh, he's long retired.
How old is Wayne Rooney at this point? And how long?
I don't know. But he's had about 4 coaching gigs, and he's gotten fired from.
He's a coach?
Well, he was. Ironically, he coached for Birmingham, which Tom Brady owns. And in the documentary, it actually went viral because Tom Brady met Wayne Rooney. And after meeting him, he's like, I don't think I like our coach.
So, Brett, I'm looking at, and we're derailing from the Dolphins. I'm sorry. So, this is only for people that just simply enjoy us talking, which I hope is everybody.
You and me.
I love chatting with you. I see, as I'm looking at Wayne Rooney's like background, I see youth career and then senior career. Like, what is so like professional, quote unquote, would be his senior career? Is that
Yeah, youth career just means he just was on a youth team, second team.
Oh, so he's only really been out since it looks like 2020.
Yeah, he retired, went right into coaching.
Cool. All right, guys, look, it's going to be a process, but someday those of you who stuck with us now are going to be very proud of me for what I learned about soccer. But
Yeah.
okay, one more question, and we'll get back to the actual American football. Why didn't I get a Premier League team? And is there any way for my new favorite team to move into the Premier League?
Can't move because your new team. For those who missed, Jordan is now a Bayern Munich fan in the Bundesliga. The Premier League is strictly for England. And basically what happened is we just put a wheel together on Discord and we spun it, and it was whatever last team was remaining. So we did it evenly. We did it fairly. So
were there Premier League teams on the wheel?
Yes, Arsenal and Chelsea.
Okay. I'll tell you, I was in my car or in my brother's car at the tailgate, and we put Chelsea, whoever Chelsea was playing this past weekend, we put that on. I did like their jerseys. Oh, okay. So I did like Chelsea's jerseys, and I did watch them a little bit. So although I am a Bayern Munich fan and all about German soccer, I also think that Chelsea might creep up into it too.
Now we'll go back to what everybody wants to hear is us talk about the Dolphins. As our Discord says, wins are all that matters. Tua wasn't good. Not sure what's wrong with him this year. So I got yelled at by multiple people in Discord.
I would be able to guess who one of them is.
Multiple people. I got yelled at because I was.
Wait, is it one person that plays as multiple people, or was it actual multiple people?
It was multiple people.
Okay.
Because I was pissed with how Tua played on Sunday in the moment, and I'll get it, and I'll explain why. I thought the running game was dominant. Speaking of which, shout out to HN, who was just named AFC Player of the Month, Offensive Player of the Month. Our defense got multiple turnovers, multiple sacks, and we are in a very close game with a bad team because Tua was super inaccurate. Now, it was raining. I will say that it was raining. And Patrick Paul had his worst game of the year by far. Austin Jackson looked okay, not great. So there was pressure.
I would say great or not great to poor, more than average to great. And I was just waiting to see when CD was going to come in here. Hi, buddy. Yep.
But to me, it was just with how the team played, I expected Tua to make one or two more throws, and he didn't. And to me, some of those misses were why the game was close. Scott, the pick, once I get you want to throw deep, no one was there. Skying it on Waller for an open touchdown, throwing it behind Julian Hill early in the third quarter, gave extra possessions. And New Orleans, for as bad as their offense is, their defense is better than you'd expect.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was something that I was going to touch on. That their defense, for a 2-10 team, not only is their defense not bad, but their defense has come on of late.
Yeah. The big issue for them is they just do not have the talent offensively. Like, they're not getting blown out. Some of the games look worse than they are, and it's just they don't have the pieces.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking through right now, I mean, Baker Mayfield only went 15 of 24 for 150 against them, and they scored 23 points. Kirk Cousins only went 16 of 23, 199 yards. Like, Bryce Young only scored 7 points against them. A Carolina team that's been super hot at home could only score 7 points against them, and Bryce Young had 124 yards. No, I'm not looking other than Matthew Stafford, who, I mean, Stafford is playing at a really high level right now, but there's not many quarterbacks that they're playing that I'm looking at right now that are like completely tearing them apart. Caleb Williams, who's the darling of everybody right now, 15 of 26, 172 yards and a pick. I can go back. Now we're talking about Drake May, who's the MVP favorite in Vegas right now. I mean, 18 of 26, 261, and 3 touchdowns. So you look at the MVP candidates, Stafford, Drake May, they had good days against New Orleans, but nobody else really is. So it's not guaranteed that Tua needed to. But at the end of the day, what you and I keep going back to is he's paid $55 million.
Yeah.
And your $55 million quarterback should look better at home, rain or shine. And I mean, at this point, especially in a game like that, where he's not able to be as mobile because he's not. And in a game like that, you might need to be a little bit.
I actually did think he looked as mobile as he has all year. I actually thought he was moving around fairly well. The first issue I had was the first drive, the sack he took. And this has happened a couple of times. I know people are like, oh, why doesn't he scramble? I don't care if the quarterback scrambles or not. I don't care if they throw the ball away. The issue I have is Tua seems to be overthinking so much where he will extend a play and then he just doesn't know what to do with it. And it leads to some bad sacks. Like if he was throwing interceptions because he was trying to force, like he scrambled and was forcing something, that's another issue. I'm not going to downplay it, but hey, you're being aggressive. It's the indecision that is getting me right now. And I know right now it is popular for people to say, hey, this is from Nick Hicks, like him not working with Nick Hicks. He was not working with Nick Hicks last year. So I don't think it's that, but I knew he changed his quarterback coach too. So during the game, after the game, I said we were playing with 10 guys on offense because that's how bad in the moment I thought Tua was. I'll walk that back a bit. Tua is going to be here next year. And I think he can absolutely turn it around. But whatever changes he made last offseason, he's got to do again because whatever he did, this is unacceptable.
I don't know if I would say for certain 100% that Tua will be back next year. I think that the new GM and Mike McDaniel are going to sit down and have a long conversation as to if this is the only year that Mike McDaniel is going to get, possibly with this new GM, does Mike feel comfortable either A, going into battle with Tua, or B, going about a path to get somebody else in here? We're not just going to get rid of them for the sake of getting rid of them, and we're not tanking. I'm sorry, that's just not happening. But
yeah, the issue is the cap.
If they think there's a path, then they might explore it. I just don't know right now today if there's a path to upgrade the quarterback position.
Ozzy, I gave my explanation earlier. So
Ozzy, go to YouTube, rewind. It's right in the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, I explained. It's coming. I just got to coordinate it with work because, as I said earlier, until I can supplement my income, I got to work around that schedule, and I can't do that. Again, talked about it earlier. I did a little Haka chant earlier, so it's getting closer.
Go back. The people want a Haka, Brett. The people are starting to get a little hostile.
Well, certain people should know when it's time to drop the topic for a little bit when I said I'm going to do it. So,
day 15, Brett.
What I said, so.
No, back to the Dolphins, though, in all seriousness, like I said, if there's a path to a better quarterback that still allows us to win, then I think they explore it. But I just, at this point, don't see us making a move just for the sake of making a move. And it's not like we're going to go cut him and just add anybody. It needs to be a deliberate plan.
Yeah. I can see a path. But to me, it basically is them talking to Mike and him saying, I can't do anything with him. I want him gone.
Right.
Which I do think it's very naive. Yeah, I do think it's very naive to say that that nothing happened between the relationship. I think it's very clear that something happened between Mike and Tua this year. Now, what that is, I'm not sure. Is it fixable? Probably. But there's some repairing and some mending that needs to go on there.
So when I look at it, the path has to be twofold. It has to be number one, there's a team that's willing to take Tua. It's almost going to have to be a Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford situation.
Yeah, which I don't see.
It's going to have to be there's a team that wants Tua, and they have somebody on their roster that we feel can be an upgrade.
Yeah.
And I don't know who that team is right now.
Yeah, as of right now, I'm expecting Tua to be back next year. He's got to put the last couple weeks behind him. He's got to put this last game behind him because, honestly, I know the stats don't show it. I kind of think this might have been – when you put situation up, when you go by situation, I actually think this game was worse than the Browns game because the Browns game was a torrential downpour, and I don't think Mike McDaniel helped with the play calling. Correct. I think Mike called a very good game on Sunday.
I agree.
So that's where I think it's worse. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Brett. Just going back.
He's probably back, but, you got to have the conversation.
Just like we did this exercise last week with the playoff, and I did talk about the rain earlier in the episode. Brett, being a Michigan fan, would you trade Tua for J.J. McCarthy?
Right now, no, based off of how he's playing. Although, since everybody likes to post pictures of JJ handing the ball off and saying that's all he's good at, that's all we do on offense right now. So why not just get someone who's cheaper to hand the ball off to HN? So, yes, and this is some pettiness coming out on people from Discord, too. So they're getting a little bit of snark right now. But no, honestly, no. JJ's very broken right now. He's got a lot of issues himself. As much as I like what he did for Michigan, no, I would not trade Tua for JJ.
Would you trade Tua for Kyler Murray?
No.
Would you trade Tua for Penix?
No.
Would you trade?
No.
I mean, I'm looking down this list. Like, there's really not much else on here that you could see quarterback wise being available. So
yeah, no, we're not trading.
Unless you're talking about now moving up in the draft for one, which you'd have to move up to the top two probably. Like, it's not worth it, and Tua is going to be back.
Yeah. No, if you want to get rid of Tua, you're looking at 27. Because no, we're not tanking next year. If Tua is not here next year, it's 100% because Mike McDaniel said I can't work with him. Correct. And we just got to accept that. And I don't think, no matter my opinion on where Mike and Tua are right now, I can't see it happening.
I agree.
Okay. But yeah, for all the negative on Tua, he has shown he has the ability. We just have to figure out what's going on. Unfortunately, I think a lot of that is he's got to go back into the lab and fix it himself.
And that's what it's going to be part of. And it's funny because I remember about this time last year, you and I spoke about Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel's future. And I said a lot of it is going to go into the end of season meeting that Stephen Ross has with Mike and Stephen Ross has with Chris. I think going into this offseason, I think a big part of that decision is going to be the end of season meeting between Mike McDaniel and Tua, where Mike really looks at what is your plan for the offseason? What is your plan to improve? And what is your plan to get better? Because I think I would hope, and I think based off of the last 3 to 4 weeks, or you could say 4 to 5 weeks, I think we're starting to see a change in Mike McDaniel for the better. And I think he realizes his back's against the wall. And I think we're seeing positive things because of that. And I think that Tua is going to have to prove himself a little bit and show that he's committed to putting in that work this offseason.
Yeah. And to go along with that, you're also seeing this past game, notwithstanding because of the tackles, you're seeing the interior of the offensive line put a streak together in a sample size where we can say the scheme works.
Yes.
So that also, and I'm not saying people are going to take this the wrong way. I'm not saying get cheap and don't upgrade the offensive line. I'm not saying go bargain shopping again. But when you look at it, Jonah, for as bad as he was at the start of the year, is starting to put, I won't say good, but he's now no longer the traffic cone. Cole Strange has put 4 very good solid games together. I shouldn't say very good. This past one was very good. Larry Borum last week, and he was benched for Austin Jackson, has been graded as an elite run blocker this year. So you're seeing the pieces, and that allows you to be a bit more selective. That's not ignore, it's just be selective in how you use the resources, because this offseason is going to be a little interesting with the cap. Doable, but you got to be a lot more creative, especially because you got to extend Brooks, Brewer, Achane, maybe Minka as well.
But you know what the problem I have, Brett, is looking at these numbers, the only 3 quarterbacks that have a worse QBR than Tua are Justin Fields, Cam Ward, and Geno Smith. Tua has the same exact number of interceptions as Geno Smith, only 2 more passing touchdowns than him. I mean, you look at his yards, you look at his completion percentage, all of his numbers are on par with Geno Smith. So you can touch the offensive line or not, you can touch the defense or not. We're going to have a better roster next year than we do this year. We have a lot of picks in the middle of the draft, and I'm assuming we're going to pick a GM who's not incompetent. So we'll add a little bit of talent to the football team. But at the end of the day, it's how Tua has played this year and how he's carried himself as a leader of the team this year has been unacceptable.
No, I agree.
And it starts with him. So if he starts next season and puts up Geno Smith numbers next season, our coaching staff is going to lose their jobs.
Yeah. No, and like I said, I think Tua has proven no matter all the criticisms we have, he has proven in the past he will go, he will work hard, he will make whatever changes he needs to. I think it's as simple as he made the wrong changes this offseason. Like I said earlier, I know a lot of people are pointing to him leaving Perform. He was not with Perform last year, and I thought when he was healthy, he was fine. It's the quarterback change, the quarterback coaching change from the offseason. So he's just got to make better decision making. I don't know who he consulted last year, but whoever he consulted last year to make those changes, he should fire, because the decisions he made was wrong. But I still do have hope that Tua can turn it around, but I'm not going to blindly defend him after the year he's had. He's now it's, you got to prove it, bro. Especially because, like you said, you are a top paid quarterback in the league, so you got to prove it.
You're a top paid quarterback in the league, and you're being paid like a top quarterback in the league, and you're operating like a bottom quarterback in the league, and that's a huge problem for this football team this year, and it is next year.
Yep. But now, luckily, he could potentially change that this weekend.
Yes, he can. We play the Jets, and we are a week away from being 6-7. And I think that the path is pretty simple. You have to win out and you get in.
So here's the thing to change this. He took a break last year during the offseason. He openly said he was getting away from the stress.
No, he needs to work.
He needs to work. There's no break. He needs to work. He had his break and it sucked.
Yes, correct.
Now, this is a good point too, but it took Daniel Jones 4 teams to figure it out.
And if you look at the Daniel Jones situation, he left, and I would arguably say both the Giants and him are in better situations.
I don't know about the Giants.
I would rather have Jackson Dart.
I just meant the team. That team is a mess. Yeah.
The quarterback.
Third team. He was with the Vikings last year after he got cut, so it's just third team.
And I'm curious if Tua is the type of guy. I mean, both Darnold and Daniel Jones, because remember, Darnold sat in San Fran too. Yep. It took both of them going somewhere, sitting, learning, and then being able to move on it and spot starting and then going somewhere. It's going to be very interesting to see if Tua is able to take that same approach and be a really good supportive backup quarterback as those guys were. It's going to take some humbling if that's the route it takes. But it's certainly possible.
Yeah.
And Geno Smith is another guy that you can add into that category, although the Raiders have been terrible.
The hope is he took this year as humbling and makes the changes. And then for all this talk, we're back to having 2022, 2023 Tua.
And that would be
also,
incredible.
yeah, and that would be incredible. And we can't put that up. And once again, I will say, people need to learn when to drop a topic when I tell them to drop a topic.
Oh, Brett.
So
lighten up, Francis.
Yeah, well.
Do you think last week you told me no? After watching this team, and then also after watching the Bengals, the Bucks, the Steelers, and the Patriots, do you think there's a path for us to win out?
I do. I just don't know if it's going to be enough.
I think if we win out, there's a realistic shot.
Yeah, every game we've needed to go our way hasn't yet. So I think it's going to be tough if we get to 10 wins, and I do think it is realistic, especially when you see that Pittsburgh is such a schizophrenic team. The Bucks are kind of struggling here and there, even if the records don't indicate it. I think the toughest game would be the Patriots game.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see at that point if the Patriots are sitting their starters or if that game's important for them. But I think, like you and I have talked about, it starts with the Jets. And, I mean, the Jets looked good last week. They played the Falcons very tough. Tyrod Taylor was playing solid. And I think that there's a chance if we come out and play like we did towards the end of the game against the Saints, that we might not walk out of MetLife with a win. But I do think, obviously, the MetLife takeover is a thing. There will be a lot of Dolphin fans in the stadium on Sunday. And I do expect the team to come out fired up and leave New York with probably a 2-score win.
Yeah, no, I agree. Carpet Dinosaur put this in chat earlier, but the Jets don't have an interception yet this year.
Knock
on wood. But I do think, especially with some of the trades the Jets have made, I think this could hopefully be a get-right game for Tua, at least get him into where he can get a low level of confidence back. You got Waller back, and he did look good. When Waller was in, we still limited his reps last week. He and Tua still do have that chemistry, and Greg Dulcich is proven to be a very solid number 2. So you just got to give him easy passes. I hope Tua gets a touchdown early, just so he can get it off his back, and maybe that'll settle him in a little bit. Yes, the Jets have looked better, especially since going to Tyrod, but they still do have their issues. I don't expect A.D. Mitchell to have another game like he did this past weekend, especially with how our secondary is coming together. But I am expecting, I'm not going to say a double-digit win. I'm going to say we win 24-21.
Oh, wow. Close. I think
it's just one of those things. Until I see it, I can't see us blowing teams out consistently. And these are the games we've struggled with this year, especially as against the bad teams. So, yeah. But I do think we win.
Good. I'll say if we're going official predictions, it's probably going to be cold and windy. I'll say Dolphins 24-13.
Yeah. You just got it. No matter what the weather is like, you just have to keep riding H.N.'s back. I do like how our other running backs have looked too, despite Ollie Gordon's lackluster 4th down play last week. But yeah, and just build off the run game and, hopefully get to an easy interception. Maybe get rid of Westbrook-Akine, who you and I both thought would be a good pickup, but I saw Kyle Krabs say after whatever that kick was, you should just cut him. We cannot sign free agent wide receivers to save our lives.
No, we cannot.
No. I'm shocked at how bad he's been.
I would be surprised if we have a 2nd-round pick and I believe 3 3rd-round picks. I would be very surprised if by the end of day 2 of the draft, we have not drafted at least 1 receiver, if not 2.
Yeah. Is Waller still under contract?
Let me look.
If he is, we do not need one. If either way,
Darren Waller's on a 1-year, $2 million contract, so he will be a free agent.
Okay. You look at Kenyon Sadiq, you look at Max Clare in round 2. After that, it's kind of tough. But I think Dulcich is probably the favorite to be the number 1 next year.
I think he's the favorite to be the number 1. And as much as we love Sadiq, I mean, if we're not taking Tyler Warren, I think we kind of have more needs. And this organization has showed they don't really value spending high market dollars on a tight end. Now, if there's a possibility to sign a guy like Isaiah Likely, I think the team will explore that. But at the same time, I just, with all the things this team needs, I don't see us allocating the major resources to be able to do something like that.
So I think part of that also comes down to situation, like you said, with needs. We went into the draft last year, and everybody talks about passing on Tyler Warren. But remember, at draft time, we still had Jonnu Smith. But we needed depth on the D-line. So we all kind of knew D-line was a possibility. Looks like we've hit or on some different levels with 3 defensive tackles from last year's draft. So that's not as big of an issue. Would love to see corner early, but again, I think what you see this secondary has become with a hodgepodge group, you definitely consider corner, but you don't have to get forced into it. And honestly, to me right now, corner's up there for me in the first round. But the more I watch this offense, the more I just can't get away from the fact we need a big body receiver, whether it's wide receiver or tight end. Sadiq, depending on where we're drafting, am I saying he's better than Tyler Warren? No. Am I saying he's better than Colston Loveland? No. But with how the draft is falling for us and who we have and where they'll get picked, I think in the moment, Sadiq would make more sense than he did at the time for the Finns. Because again, too, like I mentioned, Jonnu Smith, we also thought Pharaoh Brown would be a good inline blocker, too.
Yes, we did.
So,
God, those were the days.
It's situational where we went from, okay, we got this very good inline blocker who wants to block. We have Jonnu Smith coming off his best year. Tyler Warren would be great, but he is a luxury pick. Well, now it turns out Pharaoh Brown doesn't make the team. Jonnu Smith gets traded. And I bet Jonnu Smith wishes he wasn't traded because he's catching strays from Aaron Rodgers every week. And he's really struggling in Pittsburgh. So we all have to go back and look at the moment too. So I don't think it's as much the team doesn't want to put the resources in as the situation at the time. So I could see it happening.
Yeah. I think that depending on where we're picking, I don't think we get Carnell Tate because I think he's going to be at this point receiver 1. But I could definitely see us, especially with the type of receiver that is kind of in that block of second receivers, like you and I have previously talked about. I definitely think there's a chance we take a wide receiver, especially if Tyreek is not coming back.
Oh, even if he was, I don't think he's going to be ready until mid-season because that's a pretty serious injury to come back from.
So I think you could see a receiver, you could see a tight end, and we're Dolphins fans. You can always see an offensive lineman. I would love nothing more to go like offensive lineman in round 1, especially if we're in the middle of the round, and then come back and even if you use one of those thirds and a second to move up, get your big body receiver a little bit later in the first round or early in the second round.
Jordan, you want to pull up a mock simulator?
You know, Brett, that I already have stick to the model pulled up. How many rounds do you want to go, my friend?
7 rounds. Just do the Dolphins. No trades.
Oh, I like trades.
Yeah, it's too early to even project trades right now.
It's never too early to project trades. All right, 7 rounds. The Dolphins. For those of you that have not used Stick to the Model, it is the best mock draft service out there. I use them every time I do a mock draft, and I know the Discord and our admin, Mr. S, as well as you, Brett, we all love stick to the model. So as I pull them up here, please, everybody go check out the amazing work they do and the amazing mock draft model they've set up.
Okay. So go ahead and start this. And before we pick, we'll just recap what they have because we're only taking the Dolphins.
Anything surprise you?
Ruben Bain first. Not really, but I still think Arvell Reese, if that's how it goes, Arvell Reese will be the first pick.
I do think if it's a defensive player, Arvell Reese is the first pick. I think that there's also a chance that a team like the Saints, the Jets, the Raiders, even the Browns looking there move up and try to get a quarterback, either one or two, especially if a guy like Mendoza or Simpson are graded really high. But looking at this board, the biggest problem, I think, for the Dolphins when we're talking about the guys that are there at 10 is that you missed out on the two right tackle prospects at 8 and 9. And then obviously Caleb Downs and Arvell Reese are gone, but I don't think either one of them are going to get to us. But like I said, I think the big hit to us is I think our bigger need is at right tackle. If you're talking about the offensive line, I know people think the kid from Miami might be a guard, but I think Fano and Francis are the two right tackle kids that we could look at. And it's tough to see that they went right before we picked at 10.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people like Peter Woods. I'm not going to pretend to know anything about him. Caleb Downs to the Jets would make me very sad. We're not trading, so
I'm just looking at the offers. You know, it's always fun. But Brett, if I'm looking at this, there are a couple things that I see. Okay, and here's what I see. I see Carnell Tate sticking out at me.
Yep.
Because Jordan Tyson in this mock went as first receiver. I think that there's a better chance that Cleveland takes Carnell Tate and keeps him in state. But if Jordan Tyson was the guy that was there in 10, we'd be having the same exact conversation about him that we're having about Carnell Tate. I think the really interesting name is Dante Moore.
Yeah, but I don't think he's coming out. I think if Dante Moore comes out, he's probably QB1.
And I think that then you would see 3 quarterbacks go in front of us, which would mean one of those 9 that you see there would drop, which will only benefit us. You get into the corners. There are 3 of them that I think are all kind of in tier 1, Jermod McCoy, Mansour Delane, and Avion Terrell. I'm a fan of all 3 of them. I'm a little more of a fan of Delane and Terrell than I am McCoy. I know McCoy had the injury. And then obviously you have Kenyon Sadiq and Mekhi Lemon staring you there in the face.
Yeah, oh man. So it's fun because we do so many mocks, Mr. S and I, and we've taken Carnell Tate so many times. I'm actually gonna, if you want to take Tate, I wouldn't say no to it, but I think I was gonna try and talk myself into taking a wide receiver, or into a cornerback, but I think Tate is everything you're missing. I don't know enough about the edge from Auburn to care.
I think that even though he's probably overall the best player available, and that's Falk from Auburn, I think that the Dolphins would be very underwhelmed to come out of the first round with another edge rusher.
Yeah. I'd say let's go Mansour Delane. I think he is the best of the bunch.
And I agree that Delane is the way to go. And when I'm looking at this specifically,
it kind of falls off a cliff.
It falls off a cliff after the top 3. And if you look at the receivers, like look at this. And this is something that I find very interesting and something I love about stick to the model is that you can pick wide receiver and corner and look. After those top 3 corners, look, out of the next 6 players, 5 of them are receivers. Yeah. And we pick again at what? 44 here. So if you're telling me that at 44, we're getting one of these receivers right here, I'm pretty happy. If you're telling me that we're missing out on these corners, I think I'm pretty upset, which is why I personally agree and think that we should go with one of the corners here.
Yeah, let's go Mansour Delane.
All right, he has been picked. As you see a couple receivers. You definitely see a receiver run. I wouldn't be surprised if, and there are a bunch of them, but if we have a guy that we love, like a Jennings Dunker, that I know you and I both love, who I constantly see go just ahead of us in these mock drafts, or a guy like one of these receivers in Concepcion or Chris Bell, or Denzel Boston, those bigger receivers that you talk about. I could see us moving up a couple spots. And using one of those third-round picks. But I think that when you get to 44 here, I think it's pretty obvious that you're going with either Jeremy Bernard, Chris Brazell, or Jacoby Lane, because all three of them would do exactly what you and I have been talking about for 45 minutes here, and adding a big body receiver to the Dolphins.
Yep. I know Mr. S loves Chess Surratt. He's a good pick too. I think he's more of a round 3 guy.
I'm a huge fan of Surratt.
Elijah Surratt, excuse me.
Of Elijah Surratt. I think that he, once it's all said and done, will be a lot closer to this group of guys than he will be to this group of guys down here.
Yeah. We're going to stick closer to the board for now. I would go with Jeremy Bernard.
I would also go Bernard. I do like Chris Brazell a lot. I think that he shows a lot of comparison to a little bit worse than I think Brian Thomas was coming out, but I think they're very similar players. And as you look here, I don't think you could have a conversation about John Mateer again. I'm not sure what his draft stock is going to look like. Their offense has been terrible. But I don't think that there's really a position here that I can convince myself to go that's not one of these. The other area that I would look, again, is a possible tackle. I personally haven't dove too far into this class, but this is something that I think after Dunker drops off a decent amount.
Yeah. So go Bernard.
I'll go Bernard. As we wait for our pick at 77, Brett, tell me what you think.
So who's available?
If you need me to click on any positions,
go to tight end real quick. So Michael Trigg just got announced for the Senior Bowl. He's probably going to rise up the board. I could see him very much being a target. Look at offensive line.
As we look,
don't know enough about the Florida. I do know.
I don't think we're going to take a center.
I don't think we're going to take a center.
If you need me to go to any other positions, if you need me to click on any other players,
just go to all, because I think at this point you're going to look at best player available. I almost want to double up on corner, and Chris Johnson is very intriguing.
I think that a lot like the draft you saw, and I don't even know how long it was ago, where you see the Dolphins take Vontae Smith and Sean Smith, or Vontae Davis and Sean Smith. Right. I think there's a chance the Dolphins double up on corner.
So I can already tell every draft Mr. S is going to bag for Surratt. So look at wide receiver real quick.
He's gone.
He is gone.
But I do think that there's a chance we double up on this group.
Yeah, Nick Harbor would be that guy, though. That kid is insanely athletic.
Yes. For me, it comes down to a couple things. Austin Barber is a very athletic offensive lineman. Obviously played at UF, better run blocker than pass blocker, and probably a guy that you can see play a couple different positions. So I would go there, or I would go Chris Johnson.
Yeah, let's go Barber. I think getting offensive linemen is important.
Well, look at that. We picked, and not only do we pick again, but one of our targets just went off the board. So, Brett, here's what I want to do. I want to do a little exercise, okay? I want to undo this and go back to our last pick, which is a wonderful tool they have. I want to pick Chris Johnson And look at that. Austin Barber goes off the
Yep.
board right after us. So it really wouldn't have made a difference. It really looks like we're only getting one of those two players that we want. And there, Brett and I decided to go Austin Barber.
Yep. I would go Michael Trigg here. I think he has the tools you want in a tight end. It's a little early as of right now, but I think he gives you the blocking and the receiving upside you want at that position.
He does. There are three other names I'll give you here as I started to do research in this range of guys as I work my way down the board. D'Angelo Pons from Indiana is a tough corner that I think if we're going to double up and miss out on Chris Johnson, I think he makes sense. Romello Height is a guy with crazy athletic tools. And this organization loves drafting edge rushers, so that's never out of the question. And then the other name that I saw there was Torian York from Texas A&M. He's on the smaller side, but a very physical interior linebacker or inside linebacker that I think could add to that room if we decide to do some overhaul there. But if it were me, I would either go Pons, Height, or Michael Trigg for you there.
Yeah, I'd say Trigg.
Done. And Brett, just like that, we're on the clock again. And just like that, D'Angelo Pons is still on the board, as I had talked about, if you do want to double up at this position.
I do want to double up. Look at edge real quick.
Of course. Look at the top of the board. A Michigan man.
I'm going to behave myself and not take a Michigan player right now. So I do like Derek Moore quite a bit.
Here is, for those that are following along and need an update through 4 picks, this is what Brett and I have done to this point.
Now, listen to the Carpet Dinosaur real quick. Pull up quarterbacks. I'm just curious to see.
Go. I think
I will say this, not in the 3rd round, but I would not be against Jaden Maeva as a developmental guy.
I agree with that. I think that Lincoln Riley has shown he's had success with quarterbacks, no matter where they're taken. I don't think Mensa's coming out. I don't even know if Mensa can come out, to be honest. But there are a couple guys like a Sawyer Robinson. These guys, some of these guys are staying in college football down here. But a Sawyer Robinson on day 3 is somebody that I would look at too. Taylon Green with some athletic profile. I know he's going to the Senior Bowl. He's likely going to move up. But I think that if you're looking at where we're picking, I think right in this 110 spot, our first pick on day 3, I think that's a place that I wouldn't be surprised with taking a quarterback. I'd be a little surprised if we walked out of one on day 2.
All right, go ahead. Go back to wide receiver. Honestly, it's probably early now. I would take Nick Harbor.
I would take Nick Harbor. For me, personally, if it was up to me, this is where I'd double up. I'd go D'Angelo Pons, but I'll go Nick Harbor if you want Nick Harbor.
Yeah, he's just that type of athlete. That's ridiculous.
And look at that. We're on the board again at 110. It's going to be between the late part of day 2 and the early part of day 3. It's going to be a lot of fun. And this is a place, Brett, that I totally would not be surprised if we ended up taking a quarterback with this first pick.
Yeah, this is where I would say Jaden Maeva. It's just, like I said, at this point, I don't think Dave Ewers has shown enough, and he's a 7th round pick to really say we're comfortable. And Zach Wilson didn't look good in preseason. So that's not even to say, hey, get rid of Tua. That's nothing. That's just to get a better option and backup because we just don't know what we have.
Right. And I also think that you're looking at a situation where you look at good organizations and even when Brady was in his prime, you still saw the Patriots, or later in his prime, because Brady had a very long prime, draft Jimmy Garoppolo, draft Jacoby Brissett, and continue adding young quarterbacks. And I don't think that Tua has done enough for us to not do that. So I think that adding somebody and going into next year with Tua and a second-year quarterback and a rookie quarterback, I think we could be in a worse situation.
Yeah. All right, now let's take a look at the corners.
I do just want to give a shout out to Lee Hunter, who I think will be a good pro. Corner.
No, Jair Hill's not
You're going to behave. Oh, look, Chris Johnson's there again. That's a mistake.
Yeah.
Are there two Chris Johnson Juniors that both play at
San Diego State? Let's take a look at edge. I'm not really feeling that linebacker position, the corner.
I don't hate Kamara. I mean, again, Indiana's defense is very, very tough. And at this point, you're not only looking for guys that might be able to play right now, but you're looking for guys who are going to be able to develop.
Kenyatta Jackson did not lose a snap against Michigan last week.
I'd go in that direction as well.
I would go with Kenyatta Jackson.
Done.
Very underrated because Curry and McDonald are probably going in the first round whenever they declare. So he's a very underrated player. All right, so what are we in?
And this is going to be the point in the draft. I mean, we're waiting about 115 picks as we're on our last one here. And you look at what we've done to this. Brett, if you could go back and after doing this exercise, I feel like at least every time I do one of these, I learn a little something about what I want to do in the middle of the draft. Is there anything you'd change?
I am morally against drafting Florida Gator players early. So probably that.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I think for
no
me,
disrespect to the Gator fans out there, but
for
your early picks kind of suck.
I would hope that if, let's say, a situation like a Dante Moore coming out happens, he goes before us, and that first pick there is one of those tackles, either the Utah or Miami tackle, and then this pick right here turns into a corner.
Yeah.
But as we finish here, what do you think? I know you have a physical safety right here from Iowa. I don't know how much you know about Zeke Berry or what you could tell us. I know Jan Miller
has physical tools, but he came in as a safety and got moved to corner. You can see the ability, but he still just has some issues dealing with route running. So I would not take Zeke Berry.
For me right here, I'm looking at the Iowa safety or Bud Clark. I think one of these guys right here, I've seen, I'm not even going to try to say it, man. I've seen Iowa play a bunch for reasons that should be pretty obvious in college football in 2025. And I think that he's a physical guy that you could see a coach like Anthony Weaver liking.
Yeah. Look at offensive line real quick, because I think this is where you go and get like a developmental player. I know a lot of people who like the South Dakota State offensive lineman.
I agree with that. That was when I looked at this list, that was the first name that really stood out to me.
All right. Do not draft a Brett. I think there's only one Brett in the draft, Norfleet, and he's a tight end. But I would go to South Dakota State player.
Let's see. There's a punter from Georgia named Brett.
We don't need a punter.
Can I include guys that were all right? Whatever. We don't need a punter and we don't need a Brett. Shout out Jake Bailey. Oh no. I think I just quit us out of the whole draft, Brett.
Well,
we were on the last pick.
Yeah. So there we go.
Mr. S, please go back in this video a little bit so you could screenshot when I pulled up all our picks but the last one. And you can go ahead and make that pick.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's going to be an interesting draft because it's still so early in the process. We don't know where people stay.
It's going to be fun to look at, even in January, the mock we do. And in February.
Let's hear your comment because you've been asking to comment for so long. So go ahead.
Let's hear it.
So, yeah, it is still so early in the process that we don't really know where some people are going to go. There's going to be people rising up the board that we haven't talked about. This time last year, we were saying Will Johnson was guaranteed top 10 pick, and he fell. Now, that was partially because of injuries and partially because of how he handled the draft process. But again, we just don't know. No one had Gray Zerbil or is it going in the first round. Well, we appreciate your opinion, Mr. S, but I was fine with our picks. I will put it that way.
Agreed.
So,
and trust me, you're talking to somebody that's about as high on Elijah Surratt as anybody in this draft. And I think that there will be a second round where I take him for us. But you know, you do so many mocks between now and draft day, you go in different directions.
yeah. So, last thing we'll leave on, like we always do. Jordan, for this Sunday against the Jets, what player that is an H-N has to step up?
Tua.
Yeah.
Period. I think that if Tua has a good game, I'm pretty confident that everybody else that's involved will put themselves in position to succeed. I expect a turnover-free game from Tua, which seems to be asking a lot. And I expect more than anything to limit the mental mistakes. And if he does that, I can't see us losing to the Jets.
Yep. Tua gets 2 touchdowns, we win easily. And
Tua touchdowns?
Yeah, 2 touchdowns. But we will end this here. We have gone about an hour. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This is a day later and a lot earlier than we normally do. We will try and get back into a normal schedule and expect more draft stuff next week. A little bit more in-depth, a little bit more breakdowns. So
absolutely. And please
make sure you do like and subscribe.
Yep, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Yep, whatever words came out of my mouth. I will order the Gruden hat. Don't worry.
Mine will be here soon.
So thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day and a great weekend.
Go Dolphins.
Go Dolphins.